So you understand here, um, you have to make the queue manager attribute CLWLUSEQ as any, and you have to make the queue attribute defbind. See, defbind is open. If you make this defbind as a open to not fixed, display QL QMGRC3.LQ DEFB. You guys are seeing my screen? Guys, you have to answer me.
Yes, sir.
So I am going to change the queue manager level attribute CLWL use queue. By default, it is local. And I'm going to change the attribute of QMGR C3.LQ. This queue attribute of defbind. So these two things I am going to change here. Alter QMGR CLWLUSEQ. What is the meaning of local? This queue is local to this queue manager. I am saying it can access by anyone and the workload can happen from local to any. Alter QL QMGR C3.LQ. Okay. Defbind. I don't want to make it as what did I make here? Plus workload used to any. Defbind open, defbind. I have to change it to not fixed. This is a typo mistake. Okay. Now display QL QMGR C3.LQ. Now see, let me clear everything. We have one object which is at QMGR C3. Now we make some changes so that it is available for all the queue managers. Whenever any workload has been put, that workload has to be distributed across all the queue managers. So what I have to do? QMGRA1 display QMGR CLWLUSEQ. It is local. I have to change it. Alter QMGR CLWL USEQ to any. Let me make these changes in all other queue managers. D2. Alter QMGR CLWL USEQ any. So C3 I already made, so I am going to QMGR D4. Alter QMGR CLWL USEQ anything. See, I have queue got created in QMGR C3 only. So you have to create a queue physically in all the queue managers for workload balancing. So what I will do, in QMGRA1, define QL, we have to create the queue with the same name, QMGR C3 only. Cluster of MQ students. Alter QL QMGR C3.LQ def bind from open to not fixed. The same thing I have to do it in QMGR V2. So I am doing changes to queue manager level and queue level so that, for example, if I am putting 8 messages, two messages has to distributed across the 4 queue managers. That is the achievement. Okay. A1, B2, C3 we did it, right? D4. Now we'll go to QMGR A1 and we'll check the depth of the queue. It has to be 0 on all the queue managers. I know you guys are all getting bored now, correct?
No address.
See, queue manager C3.LQ depth is 0 in all the queue managers. If I try to put 8 messages, the messages has to divide equally. That is my agenda. If I put from any queue manager, QMGR C3 dot LQ. For example, imagine if I'm trying to put from QMGR A1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Run MKC QMGR A1,
A1.
QMGR C3 dot LQ. How many messages? Oh no. See 2 came. And MKC, QMGR, B2. QMGR C3 dot LQ depth. 2 perfect. So QMGR B3 C3 sorry. QMGR C3 display QMGR C3 dot LQ depth. QMGR D4 display QMGR D4 dot LQ. Oh, D4 didn't get it. You have to wait for some time.
So you have given the wrong
Oh, okay.
LQ name. D3
Correct, sorry. QMGR C3 dot LQ. Perfect. It means if I put 8 messages on the queue from any queue manager, all the queue managers will be dividing the workload equally. That is the main agenda of the functionality of the cluster. For example, 50,000 messages are coming. Sorry, 40,000 messages coming. Each queue manager will get 10,000. You got my point?
Yes.
So the beauty of cluster is workload balancing will happen automatically. What attributes you have to change? You have to remember. You have to change class workload use queue at queue manager level. Defbind you have to change at queue level. This you have to change to any. By default, it could be local. From local, you have to change it to any. And here, it is like open. You have to change to not fixed. By default, it is open. Open means if message come to the Rex, in the first scenario, I created a queue. I didn't create the same queue in other queue manager. Open means message come to my queue manager. If you want to get the messages, you have to come to my queue manager only. Now it is not the case because the same queues got created in other queue managers also. Now the workload is getting distributed. Now it is not one of specific queue manager. Now that queue is created at cluster level on all the queue managers. Now the workload balancing is happening. Now you understand the traffic. Do you want me to create another meeting or this is enough? Enough today, I feel. Correct? Workload balancing is happening. That is what our main agenda.
Got it.
You have 1, you have 2, you have 3, you have 4. For example, you have a queue here. Imagine this queue is created at cluster level. Now, someone is trying to put a messages on this queue of 40,000, 10,000 here, 10,000 here, 10,000 here, 10,000 here. Like the way workload balancing is going to happen. So what is the most important things are commands. What we executed here. And what commands we executed from here? Display QMGR, alter QMGR, yeah, earlier it is a local, after that it is any. And queue level at changes what I did, I'll copy paste here. See, by default it is display QL, alter QL, open not fixed here. So that's it, guys. We have 5 more minutes to end the session. Any questions on this cluster concept?
No, Akbar, it's clear.
Okay. Kirtana and Riaz. So I'm keeping everything in the notepad. I'll share this notepad with you guys. You just need to give a walkthrough, and believe me, if you are not going to practice, you're going to forget everything. Simple. So this is the workload balancing. You have to do this step on all the queue managers. You have to create the queue on all the queue managers. Here rather than alpha, just put it as a MQ students.
So can you go to
Yeah, that's all. Do the below steps on all the queue managers part of cluster. Now there is something called overlapping cluster to cluster communication, which is called as a name list. I'll explain you that theoretically, and if time permits, we'll see that lab also. But again, the same concept that needs again some time of around 2 to 2.5 hours for name list. So I will keep that name list concept in the last sessions. So we'll discuss later. Any questions so far as of now on the clusters? The main agenda is you no need to create a remote queue. If you put 8 messages across the 4 queue messages, workload balancing is going to happen. Rest of the channels will created on fly automatically. Okay. Narmada, any questions? Riaz, Sana?
No, Akbar, it's clear from my head.
Okay, great. Thank you. How about Riaz?